Hello, everyone, and welcome to this discussion. I have here with me Madam Mahvish Ayub. And because obviously you people must be familiar with the topic, it's regarding patriarchy and how patriarchy molds us women in our personal and professional capacities. But before that, I would want to introduce ma'am. She works in a corporate space. She has been a teacher. She has that is that I will be asking her the question of her academic background, but I met her in a corporate space, and I was absolutely mesmerized with the kindness that she portrayed. So thank you so much, ma'am. Welcome. Thank you so much
Thank you
for
for inviting me.
coming. Most welcome, ma'am. It's our pleasure, our a humongous pleasure. All right, ma'am. So let's move to our very first question, ma'am. Let's commence this interview. All
Go
right,
ahead.
ma'am. So, ma'am, I would begin this interview with an academic question. So, ma'am, the first question I have for you is that what academic background do you belong to, and what were you interested in the most as a child?
Okay, so my academic background, I'm basically a conventarian, but I'm a creative person. And my academic journey was quite a little bit, I would say it was zigzagging because I initially wanted to become a doctor. So when I was trying to submit my admission forms at the college level. I waited in the row for 2 hours. And as soon as I had to submit the forms and do my pre medical, I withdrew the forms and my mother was waiting for me in the car. And she was like, "Did you submit your forms?" I was like, "No." And she's like, "What were you doing?" I was like, "I was waiting in the line for 2 hours and I don't
Oh
want to
my
study
God.
medical anymore." She was like, "Why?" And I
So
was
it was
like,
an
"I don't."
epiphany?
Yes, exactly. In just a split second, I don't know, something happened to me. So I was like, she was a little bit disappointed. Then my father, who supported me, he says, let her do whatever she wants to do. And I think I just zigzagged and I entered into general sciences. That was math, statistics, and economics. I think probably I was good in math, something like that. So
Oh, that's
yeah, so I was good with numbers. So I thought, let's just shift our field towards numbers. So I ended up doing BBA in finance and also my MBA in finance. So then
right.
again, I wanted to end into the banking sector. That's why I did finance. But then
Right.
again, I started zigzagging, and rather than entering into the banking sector, I ended up into the telecom sector, which is completely, totally different.
Oh, wow. So it has been quite an ecclesiastical journey, this one. This is,
Exactly.
wow.
Because, because I studied finance, I studied numbers, and I had in mind I'm going to end up in banking sector, and then I ended up in telecom. So I worked in telecom, jazz, previously known as mobiling for 7 years. Then I had a three
Oh,
years
wow.
break in between. I started teaching as a visiting faculty as well as a teacher. I started teaching O levels. So everybody was shocked because they thought I was good with numbers. I would be teaching maths or something
That's
like
exactly.
statistics. Yeah. And I
Yeah.
ended up teaching Islamic studies. So, and one of the teachers, she was really surprised, and it was her first day, and she came to the school, and she says, "I was teaching the students," and that's how she told me that I found about you that I was teaching the students, and I was like, she was a biology teacher, and she says, "Okay, which is going to be the next class?" And suddenly, with the children said that that's going to be Islamia, Islamic studies. As she said, I was expecting a teacher with abaya and head covered coming to the class,
Like
and
breaking the
suddenly
stereotypes, breaking
yes,
the stereotypes right there.
exactly. And suddenly I see a teacher who is like well dressed up and she's entering the class. Like, is she going to teach Islamic studies? So for me, Islamic studies was not about that. I respect people who are into that religious persona.
The
But for me,
attire and everything.
exactly. But for me, Islamic studies is more about values. Like the
Hmm.
rule of
The
my
concept.
class would be, yes, you have to be honest, you have to respect others. These are the basic principles of Islam, which I think we tend to forget. We focus more on the other elements rather than the basic principle: empathy, kind towards other, respecting other people's opinions. So I think
Exactly. Also, it's a really controversial thing that I want to put right now after having listened to you, is that I won't say that attire doesn't matter, but then again, what matters the most is the things that you mentioned. So like,
Yes.
you have to wait the first, like, it's okay, I won't say the next thing, I'll get
No,
cancelled, but like,
I
you
absolutely
get the
agree
point.
because I wanted children to be comfortable in my class. The reason
Mhm.
was because I wanted them to be honest with me. If they have skipped up the homework or due to some unforeseen event or due to their some busy schedules or probably some family engagements, so they should come and let me know rather than
Right.
lying to me or covering it up. So this was what the basis of and I think I had a pretty good bond with the children. I think for
I, I,
five
I
years.
can I can sense that. I can feel that. Why? Because when I came to you the first time, I was feeling quite intimidated, because like the aesthetic of your office and all those awards and those certificates, and I was intimidated and quite daunted. But then it just, the conversation, it was so like, you like, some people are just like, they're humble, and like, it's just a little difficult to believe, but then again,
Yeah,
amazing.
no, no, I agree. I have a persona which make people a little bit hesitant talking to me. They're a little
Yes.
bit in that zone. It's like, okay, should we go and talk to her or not? But
Yep.
once they come and talk to me, they realize that I'm a different person when you communicate with me, when you
Yes.
talk to me. So I do have that persona. So this is what my
Right.
journey has been. Then I had a 3 years break in between. And
Mhm.
then one day, which is quite interesting, that I was baking a banana bread at home. And one of my friends, she called me. Uh, she was with me in school and she says, do you want to work? And I was like, I'm thinking about working after a 3 years gap. And she was like, there's an opportunity and there's a new establishment going in Peshawar by the name of Incubation Center. No idea what incubation center is. No idea what startup ecosystem
Yes,
is.
exactly. And also, like, now I'd say that, like, you're one of the sharks of Peshawar, a Shark Tank reference, because
So
like
this was
you had, yes.
so this was 2018. In fact, 2017 to be exact. And this was somewhere in July or June. No idea. And she sent me a document and she was like, "Why don't you just read it and just prepare yourself for the interview?" And I was like,
Mm,
fine. My initial interview was in Islamabad. So I went there because I had a academically strong CV. So because I had no idea about the tech element, but because I was working telecom, but my CV was quite strong. So this is,
mm,
and I remember one of the VP saying, her CV is quite good, but she doesn't have the tech background. And I was like, okay. But I
what
got the
background?
opportunity I was not expecting exactly. And then when I think it was 25th September 2017. So me and Bilal, he's one of my colleague. He's the head of marketing and partnerships. So we were the
Yep.
founding members of NIC. So for the 3 months, NIC Jatad, it was in the build-up stage. The construction was going
Mm,
on. For 3 months, we were working from home. And I think it was inaugurating on 13 January 2018. So the first year, oh my God, don't ask me how it was because
and
I
what
went through a
exactly?
roller coaster ride. Exactly.
Oh,
I did
wow.
not knew what startup was. I have no idea about the ecosystem. And I was learning. And I because it was quite this is I'm talking about 5 years back. So a lot of work was spending. People have not researched on that. It was
Mm,
something a new concept. So the first year was a roller coaster ride. It was quite tough.
mm. And at that point, were you and Sir Bilal, you people were the only two involved in this incubation thing? Because in
Yes.
Peshawar, I don't think there was any other incubation center or any idea. People did not even know about incubation
Exactly.
centers, right?
So it started off, yeah. And then I think later onwards we had Durshell and BIC. That was in 2018 roundabout. But I think
Mm,
slowly by slowly, there were a lot of, I think KPIT board did a lot of work in incubation centers later onwards as well. But my main job was to be connected with the donor because I was on the reporting side. So always used to stay away a little bit from the limelight. And Bilaz was the face of NIC because he was the marketing and partnership head. TK.
right, right.
So it was quite surprising that after spending 2 years, one fine day somebody came was like, "Do you work here?" I was like, "Yes." It's like, "Oh, we have never seen you." Like I'm always on the backside. So it was quite
Mm.
interesting. I was like, "No, I've been working here since 2017." So, but probably I think after this whole interesting journey, I would say, I think it has been a learning journey as well, I guess.
Indeed, indeed. And now, ma'am, I'll shift to the next question, because this discussion, now that we have brought the corporate element in our discussion, ma'am, I would like to ask you, what is it like to be a woman in business, and that too, especially in the Pashtun community? What is it? What has the experience been like, and currently, what is it like?
Actually, Pashtun community is quite conservative, and you have to follow certain strict gender rules. You know that. We all know that. It's not a monolithic society, and every person experience or every individual experience is different within the Pashtun society as well, because I see a lot of differentiation in the Pashtun society as well. Okay? So
Right.
there are cultural and societal norms as well, where they think that male is supposed to be the public figure, he is supposed to be in the limelight, he's supposed to be engaged in that era, and the woman has to deal with the domestic side of that as well. Then also
That's
we have because we have limited opportunities as well for female as well, because
yep.
in order to enhance your skills, because I would say there is a lack of training as well. If you want to build up your skill, then your family and societal support is different. Probably I think I was lucky because I grew up with two siblings, both were brothers, and I
Mm-hmm.
tell my friends and my colleagues, they made me watch every wrestling movie. They made me watch every war movie. I hated that. But I think probably it was incorporated in my mind. Probably I had a good family, a supportive family who always encouraged me to break the barriers. Then there's also like overcoming the stereotypes, that,
And
where we
it's a
have defined people
difficult.
in the specific roles, and
Yes,
and
exactly.
breaking through those roles, you need to have a strong determination for that. You need to have confidence for that as well. Then I think we
Exactly.
lack networking and collaboration opportunities as well, because I see very few limited good female around who can actually mentor you or who can interact with other female as well. And
Mhm.
probably I think last it will be the legal and the policy environment as well, because
So,
we
like,
do
there
have a
are
little bit.
quite a lot of hassles, ma'am. I'm really glad to know that you have not had to go through all those the harsh elements of our society. But like, what do you think is the biggest hindrance when it comes to like just breaking the stereotypes, entering the corporate world, anything, breaking the stereotypes?
I think for me, the biggest is your family or your support system. If you have a supportive family, they always push you to break the barriers. But if you don't have a supportive family and there are taboos there along the line, and
Mhm.
probably when you are being compared that you are lesser than a boy, so that always hinders your self confidence, your ability to do better. Okay, these are the obstacles that I guess you face. So I think for
That's
you to
true.
break the barriers, a supportive family. I think for you right now, I'm sure you must have a supportive family behind you. So,
Alhamdulillah. Yes,
that's
yes,
what
that's
it's all
true.
about.
And in family as well, there are like your parents, your siblings,
Exactly.
those people especially. If they're happy with you, I'm not saying extended family is not important, but your immediate family,
Yeah,
that's the most.
exactly.
Yes,
Because I think
exactly.
they're the people who support you. You don't care, you don't talk about the external family. Yes, they matter, but as long as your initial family is on your backside, you're confident, you can do that because you're not answerable to anyone. So I guess I would say that because my brothers would always tell me, okay, let's go to the concert. Because initially, because when I started, I was studying that. I'm talking about 2002, 2003 when I was studying. And
Mm-hmm.
I remember they never said to me, oh, you're a girl, you're going to stay behind. You're not going to attend this concert.
Kudos
So
to your brothers.
exactly. They would say, "Oh, come on, let's go." So, and in the end, what used to be happened because I used to get scolded by my parents because I was the elder one. I was in between both my brothers. So at times when they would get late, they would say, "You're the responsible one. You should have come earlier." And I would used to get late because of them, and I would be waiting for them in the lobby. And sorry, because I used to get that thrashing for them, and the next day they would be laughing all about it, and I would be like, dude, because of you, I got the thrashing from the
It's
parents.
so heartwarming, like all the anecdotes that you're relating right now. I want people, especially women, to experience this kind of liberty and joy in their life, because for most of us, there are quite a lot of issues convincing families for things as minute as you going to a concert. Or and so I'm so happy to know that you have had a really nice experience. And ma'am, the women who want to break stereotypes, for example, but they're not, their families are not supportive, what would you admonish them to do? What is the
Uh,
one thing?
One thing I would advise them is like, I knew there were certain things about my family. I have to keep the respect of my family because when I was studying in co-education, my mother told me, whatever you do, it's not about Mavish. It is about your surname connected with you. So people will know you by your grandfather's name, by your father's name, or they would know you by your brother in whatever manner you're conducting yourself. So you have to draw certain lines. I knew what was important for my family. I knew what their values was. So I kept that in mind. They gave me a certain liberty. And I never exploited that. And another thing which I did was that I always keep an open conversation with them about whatever I used to be doing. Like I used to treat them like friends. So I think for that, you have to make them understand and you have to be honest with them. So there, because this is I'm
Right.
going to do, this is going to happen, and this will be the end result. And I understand that at times they say you have certain, what do you say? The right would be there are certain no's as well, but I always respected that.
The
And then I
no,
give
yes,
time.
exactly.
Exactly. The no is always there, but you have to respect that as well.
Indeed, yes, you have to find if your family is supportive, then that balance you should try to keep
Because now
everything.
I realize as I grew up why my mother would say no to me at a certain time. Why wouldn't she let me go to a certain event? So now I realize it as I grew older. She had her reasons, and I think her reasons were quite valid. I never did something which should aggravate that, or I never went in rebellion. That's what we do at times, that we end up being rebellious and we do things which our family doesn't want us to do. So I think for making them understand is a really important thing. And I think to earn their trust, I guess.
Right,
That's a
ma'am.
really
So, like trust and being rebellious is like you can be a little bit, but like then again, as you said, not you have to respect the no's. So yes,
yes.
that's that. All right, ma'am. Now, ma'am, there's a statement that I am going to assert, and I'm going to ask you if you agree with it partially, completely, or whatever you feel about it. So the statement is that patriarchy is the root cause of all inequality. Not just this is not just in our community, just generally the statement. Patriarchy is the root cause of all inequality. Your
Okay.
opinion, ma'am?
So, you know what patriarchy is? Patriarchy is a social system in which a man has the primary power and authority, and he considers a woman a subordinate in that society or a community. So, it is observed across various cultures, society, and it is not only limited to one particular business field. It is there in politics, economics, education, and culture as well. The root cause of the inequalities are probably our gender roles and expectation, the
Hmm.
stereotypes,
Yes, ma'am.
the unequal power dynamics which we have. Then we have economic discrepancies where women face barriers in employment. You know, women still face equal pay or career advancement or entrepreneurial opportunities. We do face that. Then political underrepresentation, which I think we have overcome that till
Yes,
now.
political. That's yes. That's the only element that we should feel happy. Political underrepresentation.
Exactly.
That makes me feel
Yes.
really sad.
And then,
And ma'am,
yes, go
sorry,
ahead.
sorry, sorry.
No, no, no,
It's
no, go ahead, go ahead.
it's just, ma'am, I had this question. The gender roles. I mean, it's so like they are so fixated in our community, ma'am. That what do you think? What do you think is education, proper education, the best answer to address gender roles? Because I don't think that gender roles should be fixed and defined. What do you think, ma'am?
Yes. And I think if we look at education, I think for education for a boy or a girl is equal. Whenever we are studying, have you ever come across something in your course book which says this is for the boys and this is for the girls? No,
No,
right?
never. Never, never.
Our curriculum is the same. The same curriculum is being followed by the boys or the girl, irrespective. And I can see a lot of girls taking higher positions in education more than I think. On an average, the
Exactly.
toppers rate or the high achievers are mostly women, right? But never
Uh,
in the curriculum there's something like a role defining them. This task needs to be done by the boys, or this task needs to be done by the girls. I think it's more a societal thing because we prevent females from doing certain things as because we don't give them opportunities. I came across an interesting conversation with one of my colleagues. He said I was sitting, and my son was sitting with me, and my daughter was also there, and my daughter wanted an ice cream. So I told my son, and I'm sitting in that place where to buy the ice cream from, or ice cream parlor or something like that. And I give the money to my son, go and get your sister an ice cream.
right
So
now.
he then realized that why didn't I give the money to my daughter? Go and get yourself an ice cream.
Mhm.
You have to delegate it to them. You have to empower them. You have to give them small tasks. That's, I think, what we lack. ठीक है? Because of the
Yes.
reason we give certain roles to men, that this task needs to be done by a boy or this task needs to be done by the girl. I think we need to eliminate that.
And only mothers and fathers can do that. Like, I
Yes,
mean, teachers as
exactly.
well. But like, the education should begin with the mothers and the fathers, and
Yes.
only then the barriers can be like addressed
And
and
I
eliminated.
realized it because when I was growing up, so I was one of the child because I had two siblings. Because I don't have a sister, so I had an elder brother and a younger brother. And I was that sort of a person who used to not even fill her own admission forms. My father used to do that.
Hmm.
So during 2017, when my father got sick and both of my brothers were abroad, and suddenly I came to know my father was diagnosed with cancer, and I was at Aga Khan at that time, and I thought the world has shaken up. I had just fallen down, and I started crying. And suddenly my mother said to me, uh, she was like, "Bache, I can't do this thing. If you lose hope, who's going to do it? Your brothers are not here." And I never knew where to submit the money or where to submit the application form or which process to follow. But when it lands upon you and you find your ways out, and then I used to be running in the corridors and I would be like, okay, where's the admission office? Where I'm supposed to submit this slip? So I found a mechanism, I found ways for myself, and I started organizing stuff. I have to make payments here, and I have to get the receipts. So I think we have to delegate people with responsibility. We have to give girls a little bit responsibility in matters of small tasks. So I think that empowers them.
Yes, they feel in charge. You have to make them feel in charge of something at least. And ma'am, how did you navigate that situation? I'm really sorry to the.
No, no, no. Actually, it was initially it was like a shock, and then I used to be like, okay, so I'm gonna get go to the hospital at probably at 8 o'clock. So I used to get ready at 7. So I had a whole because I think you bring your management system into that. So I used to be like between 10 and 11, I used to be sitting with my father. Okay, his chemo is going to start because he used to have his chemo sessions. He had 5 chemo sessions. So then as soon as I knew that the drip would reach a certain level, so rather than waiting for the drip to finish off, I would go to the cash counter and I would tell them, just give me my clearance bill. And the person would be like, Madam, you need to wait for an hour. So I was like, no, the drip is about to get finished up. And you just give me the documents and I'm going to get it done. So
Oh,
probably, I guess, I think I brought my management skills into that. And I think it was just another task for me. I think just the way you get an assignment, right? And you know
right.
when to start, when to end. And at that point, I was teaching part time and I wanted to quit. But I remember the principal, and I would say something remarkable about her. Uh, I said, I can't work because my father is ill. I have to be there every second Friday because he has to get his chemos done. She said to me, you can take off on Fridays. It's all right. So she says, it's not about I don't want to give you a leave or I don't want you to quit. It's about for your own mental sanity. She told me that if you stop working, You will start thinking about yourself and the illness
And
as
the
long as you
shock
sleep.
and the,
Exactly.
yes.
So she helped me, and I guess then after the chemo cycle, we had, I think, 18 radiation sessions, and that was supposed to be done every day. And then I went back to her again. I was like, listen, now I have to go to the hospital every day, and I cannot manage that. So I don't want to leave, but I have to quit. And she was kind enough again, and she said to me, why don't I give you a slot between 7:30 to 12? You can take all your lessons in one go, and by 12 o'clock you would be free. So then I used to rush back to the hospital, pick up my father from home, and we used the last session used to be happening between 2 to 4, the last radiation session, and we used to attend that and used to come back home. So I think
All
I
right.
adapted myself to that. I guess I think it was just another task for me, I guess,
Right,
probably.
ma'am. And ma'am, also one thing, the silver lining that I see in this situation is that when women support women, it's
Yes,
something else. So
because
that
I always appreciate her because I went to her twice and I had a valid reason and I told her I'm going to quit. And she would tell me, this is for your own sanity
and
because
she
I
was
don't
right.
want, and she was right. And I think I told you I developed a mechanism to cope with it. It was just another task. Then rushing to the hospital was another task. Like then going to get the medication was another task. So I started planning out my days because for the medication I had to order 2 days before. So I knew the whole mechanism. My brother was here. He came initially. He sorted the whole procedure for me. He had the because he took the major workload. I think he streamlined a process for me and then told me, this is the guy you're going to call 2 days before you're going to go for your chemo. This is the process which you're going to process your payment. This day you will receive the medication, and this day you will take my father to the hospital. So it was, I think it was a whole channel, and I think they empower me, I guess.
They train you. They empower you. They train you. So thank
I
you so
think
much
that
for
was the reason.
sharing that,
Yeah.
ma'am. It takes courage to still to be able to talk about these things.
I
So
think I learned. I think I learned from that experience because it made me more independent. Now I'm not dependent on anyone except God, I guess, because I believe people disappoint you always.
they do.
But yeah, they always do. But I think if you keep your dependence upon God, that God sends people, they help you out. I never expected. I am blessed to have a small circle of friends who was always there for me, who would help me navigate through whole this process. I think the God sent angels in a human form, and they were
Exactly,
always ready
the
to help
concept
me
of
out.
wasila, that we have, because
Exactly.
you've taught this episode wasila. It's really heartwarming to talk about, heart wrenching as well and heartwarming as well. So yes, the next question, ma'am. Should we move to the next question?
Yeah, sure.
Um, Thank you, ma'am. All right, ma'am. Since we know that you've had quite an ecclesiastical background, professional background, you've been a teacher, you've worked in the corporate world, and mashallah, like all those things. So, ma'am, what has the experience been like as a woman in all those scenarios? Not the
I
hardships.
think it's not an
Let's
easy
talk about
journey.
the,
You
let's
do.
talk
No,
about
no,
the
you're
good.
right. It's not an easy journey. You do face discrimination, gender discrimination at times. There are certain stereotypes people, men you work with, they cannot take a woman working with them. At times, they cannot take
Especially
an
if she's good
intelligent
at
woman
something.
working with
If
them.
yes, yes,
Exactly.
if she's good at
They would
something.
always say something to put you down, but you have to let that go. It's like you create a mechanism when you hear it from this ear and you let it pass through this ear. So you become immune to that. I think at times your confidence level goes down as well. These are typical things.
Yep.
Another thing which I always faced was I don't know why there's inequality in gender pay scale. There's a pay gap because
The
you would be
pay gap.
working on,
Yes,
yeah,
exactly that.
the a man working on the same level would get a certain pay, and a woman on the certain level would always get something lower than the man. So when you always raise your voice, the reason behind inequality in the gender pay gap, they would say, oh, you're not supporting the family. The guy has to support the family. He has kids, he has a wife, he is supporting the family.
And that's
But you're not
that's
supporting the
not a
family.
valid
You're just
reason.
working for your leisure. You're just working to make your ends meet. You're just being a shopaholic. You're spending it on yourself. But the
Yes,
question rises here is there is the working hours are the same, right?
even the load is the same. The
Exactly. The
expectations are
workload
the
is also
same.
the same. The working hours are the same, the workload is the same, then why is the gender pay gap? But I guess this is something internationally as well.
It's
I
yes,
guess,
exactly. It's not just the Eastern society; it's the Western society as well, and not just the professional space. I mean, all professional spaces. But there was a time when even Bollywood actresses were not just Bollywood, even Hollywood actresses were talking about it. So it is such an omnipresent issue, the pay gap, and I don't
exactly.
know when it will end.
And I think then there is a lack of representation in a leadership position. I guess we see
That
very few female leaders at a corporate level who has achieved
yes.
something like probably now when because they are stressing a lot on gender equality, so a lot of organization are keeping the balance, but I
Just
still feel
to like
that's limited.
maintain their image or something. Maybe only a
Exactly.
few of them are doing it out of good intentions, but most of them
Yes.
I feel as if it's just to like show something to the world.
So if any corporate meeting or a high board level meeting you see, you would rarely find one female sitting in the meeting, or probably you would not even come across a female sitting in a board meeting as well. And I think they should have a female representation because I think female can understand a female issues better.
Much,
I think she can voice them at a
exactly,
higher level.
exactly, and there are a lot of females have a lot of issues, and uh, well, let's not go discuss
Yes,
those
that's not.
issues. But yes, you're right. Now that we have got some kind of political representation, I suppose corporate representation and other representations are also necessary.
Yeah.
So that
But
okay,
there's also one thing I would like to mention here that
yes,
I think we lack the networking and mentorship. I see people play the feminist card. I don't know. I'm a feminist. I'm a female. I respect all female.
but then it's
But
actually pseudo feminism.
exactly. So what
Hmm.
happens is that probably if a certain female gets at a certain position, she would not let go of the position. She will think that she wants to keep that position for a longer period of time. She doesn't
Yes,
give other females the opportunity to come forward. And I think that's one of the things that differentiate a leader and a dictator. A leader always likes to give his space to another person, right? So we do see,
exactly.
yeah, because he would want another person to flourish. He would want another person to learn. He would want another person to take over his seat. But I think we at
Exactly.
times lack that as well.
But yes, that point that you made, ma'am, it has struck a chord in my heart and mind. That the difference between a leader and a dictator, and we are yet to have leaders in our gender, and so that
Yes, exactly. Because I wouldn't mind somebody taking over my seat. I will feel happy that, oh, he's my subordinate, or probably he was my junior and he reached to my level, or probably I mentored him and now he's taken over. I will feel glad about it. But I don't know, we people have certain obsession with chairs, I guess. I think that's
and
some sort of
and
obsession with
it's
chairs and
just
position. They don't let it go. They think,
and
oh
it
my God,
yes, exactly, it doesn't. At the end of the day, ultimately you have to leave it. So why not leave it with grace and humility,
yes.
humbleness, and
And then we
make
are trying to, I think, I think one of the important thing is that we put people down because we try to shatter the self confidence
yes, ma'am,
at
that
times as well. Because we are telling them they're incapable, they cannot do this, we are criticizing them a lot, we're not
yes, ma'am.
encouraging them. So I think we don't know, but that has a deep psychological impact. No matter if
Indeed,
a
indeed.
person has not done a certain thing in a correct manner, but we should also encourage them. You can do it. Oh, it was excellent. Oh, you did it in a wonderful way. Oh, probably. Wow. So I think probably he or she will feel motivated, I guess.
Yes, exactly. It's so nice to see that you're the head of Jalalalum. You're the head of that a certain department at NIC. Somebody here in the comment section was asking Jalalalum, um,
We should give a minute break for the prayers, I guess.
yes, ma'am. All right, ma'am. Let's resume. I know we have a temporal crunch, but that
That's okay.
okay, ma'am. Ma'am, now one more question that this one is I wanted to ask this one the most, ma'am. How do you find how do you balance? How do you find the perfect balance between work life, your professional life, and your personal life? And I hope just because we have patriarchy as we have discussed patriarchy quite a lot, but then here as well, I would want to know if has patriarchy had an effect without going into the details and the nitty gritties, obviously, has it had any effect on you trying to find the balance?
It does have an effect initially, I guess, but because what you're talking about is the personal life and the professional life. I guess I think there would be one golden rule I would say that would be
Right,
to
ma'am.
prioritize your self care and establish your boundaries. I said about boundaries earlier as well. So, what do I mean by prioritize your self care? Is like your physical, your mental, your emotional well being. you make a balance of it, because I think by the end of the day, when you're working from 9 till 6, 9 a.m. till 6 p.m.,
It becomes
your
really
body starts
difficult.
giving up. It becomes tough, your energy levels go down. So you need certain activities to make you relax: hobbies, exercise, relaxation, or you're spending quality time with your loved ones. So for me, that is like, because I don't want to get burned out, so I take a vacation once a year for a month, and I try to reconnect with my family. In that time, I am sitting in the back seat and I'm like not navigating anything, where we are supposed to go, what we're supposed to eat. Because, yeah, for the rest of the time when I'm with my parents, I'm the one who's thinking about it. Okay, we're going to go get up early in the morning. We're going to stop over. We're going to have a lunch at a certain place. It's like a scheduled routine that 1 month is my vacation mode
So
turns
no
on. And
schedule.
I'm like, yes, exactly. And I'm sitting in the casual seat and I'm like, oh, give me anything to eat. I'm not the one who's going to decide that. Plus, I think you should
Yes,
need to
ma'am.
take out time to relax yourself. You need to watch a movie, you need to read a book, you need to listen to music. We don't realize this thing, but these things have effect on our brain. And I
Just
think
feel wrong here and there.
exactly. And I think recently I realized it workout is quite important. So I make sure in my routine I take 1 hour every day for my workout, my gym. I've realized that when I'm working out, I feel happy, I feel
Because
relaxed.
I've heard that there are some hormones related, the happy
Yes.
hormones, where
Happy hormone, exactly. So when you're working out, it creates a happy hormone. You're feeling good, high. I'm not talking about high in another manner, but everybody would say. And then,
yes,
yes,
ma'am.
you are setting out certain clear boundaries, because
Yes,
regarding your
ma'am.
workout, you have to finish your work hours in a certain manner, your availability. Then you need to communicate to your colleagues as well. 9 to 6 is my official time. Six
Right, ma'am.
onwards is my family time. I need to reconnect with my family. Saturday and Sunday, unless and until it's quite important, you have an event coming up, probably you can take out time for that. But you need to, because for me, Saturday is with my mother. That's me and my mother's time.
That's just
I
so
think to
sweet.
realize it, she would make me wake up at 9 o'clock in the morning, and she would be waiting all day, and she would have planned. And there's a small petty stuff which she wants me to do for her. And then I realize it. Why cannot she done all of these tasks in the week? Because she's at home and she can do it easily. And then I realized that she wants the me time, because my mother feels like I'm working from 9 to 6. So Saturday is her time. So we make sure I go out, I do all her stuff. We have a sort of a nice lunch somewhere. By the time we come back home, it's 4 to 5 o'clock. So I know that my mother is looking forward to that. So Saturdays are dedicated to my
It's so
mother.
important that mothers and daughters, they should be
Yes,
best friends. It's very
yes.
important.
And Sunday, I think I'm just like chilling in my PJs all day, and I'm watching Netflix, and I'm like, do
The
not disturb.
chilling part
Somebody's
is really, it's really nice. It should be more.
Yeah, there's one day when I say, okay, guys, no. So the next one is learn to say no. There are times when you should say, no, I cannot do this. Or probably you should never push your body or yourself trying to
Hmm.
please other people. I've realized this thing because I've burned myself initially when I started working, and then delegate and support, seek support, because we should start giving other people's the authority as well. So
Yes.
that minimizes your workload as well, because you don't want to be, I can do it all, or I should be the one they should be dependent on.
Yes.
I think a lot of reason for people, they take workload is because they don't want somebody else to replace them, because they think probably if we show this certain task or certain technique to a certain person, so we will lose our individuality, or they can replace us easily. You're not
Hmm.
replaceable. If you are unique,
Exactly.
nobody can replace you, and I believe every human being is unique, so nobody can
Exactly.
replace you.
True that, ma'am. True that. Now, ma'am, keeping in mind that you are quite fatigued, I'm going to ask my last question. Just because you're working as one of the heads of a startup place, the National Incubation Center in Peshawar, ma'am, what would you advise women entrepreneurs to do? The ultimate golden rule or something like that.
My what would I advise them to work as an entrepreneurs
Just if they're
or
women
females?
entrepreneurs, yes, yes,
Okay.
yes, if they're entrepreneurs, what would you advise them to, like, is it consistency, or is it like what things of that sort, like what would you
Okay.
admonish them
So
to do the
my,
most?
I would advise them because everybody is special, everybody is unique, everybody is different.
Indeed.
So I would advise them to embrace their unique strengths. You have certain unique strengths, I have certain unique strengths. First, you need to see what are your unique strengths, what is your creativity, what is your core element that defines you. So you need to do that. Second thing, you need to be bold and take risk. If you're an entrepreneur and you're not taking risk, because an entrepreneur means taking risks. So you need to get out of your comfort zone. You need to create certain ambitious goal, and then you need to achieve those goals. Then I think you need to have a strong support system network. You need to build a support system network. You need
Family.
to share what you have achieved. If I achieved something, I went through a certain rough process, right?
Right,
So
right.
I realized certain hurdles. So at a certain level, I realized, okay, these are the hurdles which I faced and how I overcome those hurdles. So being a woman, I think you should share those experiences with other people, so it also helps them as well. You build a community. And I think it's also constantly about learning and adapting because new technologies are emerging, so you need to
Yes,
be adaptable as well. You need to be up, you need to keep yourself up to grade with the technology elements. You need to keep training yourself. If my somebody who's my junior is teaching me a software, I'm so glad to learn it from him or her. I'm like, oh my god, I found something new. Oh, this is a new website. Oh my god, really? Oh, how do you manage this? How do you search in a certain website like this? So there are
yes,
certain
ma'am.
techniques which we learn from the younger generation, I guess. So there's
And we
nothing
should be
wrong with
open
it.
to that. We
We
should
should
be open to that.
Yes,
All
and
right.
then foster collaborations and empower others. I keep talking about
Very,
empowering
very,
others. I
yes.
think yes, because we are
And
yes.
you do that as well, because you did not say no to me. So this is, and it was very short notice. So it shows in your personage, and we are very thankful to have
No.
women like you in our community. And it's just that it is the fact. I'm not like
And I think the
sugarcoating
last
anything.
one I would say is I think I would let you, because it's for you as well. Everybody should take care of themselves. In a day, in a specific time, you need to take care of yourself because you are important as well.
That's such a wonderful
So,
admonition.
so because of the reason that if you're not taking care of yourself and you're going crazy, fanatic in the work, the process, yeah, establishing your business, people will not take you seriously. So I think there should be a small window for yourself as well. You need to take care of yourself as well.
Yes, that's a really sweet advice, and it's my mother. She says the same thing, and let's just hope we do it. We apply this thing in our life. All right, then, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you very much. It was wonderful, absolutely wonderful talking to
Thank you
you,
for
ma'am.
inviting me. Thank you for inviting me. Although I'm not a good speaker or a communication person,
You, no, ma'am.
yeah, I'm horrible at
I
that
wouldn't agree
communication.
with
I'm
that. I
always hate
wouldn't.
communication. Yes, but thank you so much for considering me and inviting me up.
And the pleasure was all ours, ma'am. It was all ours, and it's just I'm so elated at this point. I cannot even talk properly because this session made me feel really extremely delighted and elated, very content. So, ma'am, thank you so much, and happy Eid al Azha in advance. Have a safe journey
Thank you.
tomorrow, ma'am. Have a safe journey. Bye
Thank
bye.
you
Take
so much.
care. Take care,
Thank you.
ma'am.
Bye bye.
Allah Hafiz. Bye bye.